Hello and welcome back to my channel, Jordan Mind, Body, and Soul, where we learn to take care of ourselves, mind, body, and soul. And if you're new to this channel, then welcome. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, then thank you. Welcome back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this video is an update on how I'm doing with this plant-based inspired challenge, but I'm also going to talk about like the different nuances involved in understanding like Black culture and like our eating habits and just like the revelations that I've had during this journey. So first, like I said, it is day 22. So it's August 22nd and I'll be done with this plant-based inspired challenge, intentional eating challenge on August 31st. So I'm 22 days in. This video was supposed to be recorded like halfway through, but I've been so busy, but here we are. And the first thing that I want to say is in complete honesty. So if you watched the first video when I talked about like what was inspiring me to do the challenge and why I was doing the challenge, I feel like I was super excited and really high on energy. And I'm also a person who has I've been pescatarian before and I've been vegan before. And when I was vegan, I had my dad participating on the journey with me. And I lived with my parents at that time. So I had support. And because of that, and of course my dad was like buying the foods and stuff for the house, we had vegan things in the house. Everything was vegan. There wasn't anything that could not be consumed in the house. There wasn't any temptation around me, is what I'm saying. And when I was pescatarian, I was a college student. And so I had roommates, but I was just responsible for what I was eating. I didn't have to cook or prepare meals for my roommates, right? The thing that has been so challenging about this experience for me now is that, like I mentioned in the first video when I was talking about the diet, I am still preparing meals for my family that have meat. And I'll get into detail a little bit more, but this is why I wanted to call it a plant-based inspired diet, because there has been times where I'll read the label and I'll recognize that something has like beef fat in it. So I haven't eaten meat, but I've eaten like, I guess, like products of meat or like byproducts, I think they're called. So that's why I was very intentional when I said inspired, because I still haven't consumed meat. Even like I even had a situation to where I made curry. And when I made the curry, I put extra vegetables and extra carrots in it so that I can scoop it out myself and just have that. In one of those dishes that I've had, I accidentally put a piece of meat on my plate. Once I realized the meat was in my plate, I spat it out. But a lot of people who are plant-based or vegan, vegetarian, if it even touches anything with meat, they won't eat it. Again, because I'm the one still preparing meals for my family, that was going to be like, okay, make separate meals, make separate curry. Okay. And I did that at first, but then after a while, it started to be so much for me because now I need a different pot for this and now I need a different pot for that. So again, that's why I said it was plant-based inspired. But I'm still sticking to it. I haven't had meat. That is so hard, doing any type of challenge and not having your household participate. And so the reason why I did this challenge is for myself. I wanted to fast from meat. I did. And the other part of it is, as a nutritionist and as a person who helps people like with their different diets and their weight, I wanted to see what it was like to have a restriction and then be surrounded and in situations where other people don't have it. So as a community, right? Because everything that I do, I center it back or I focus on like the Black experience. The first thing that I think about is the epidemic of obesity in the Black community and the large number of people in the Black community who are dealing with obesity and or diabetes, right? And when I'm helping people and I'm walking them through eating healthy and informed choices, I feel like because I've never been on my own weight loss journey, people, but oh, you can't relate, or oh, you don't know what it's like. So I wanted to see and remind myself, because like I have been pescatarian and I have been vegan before, but I wanted to remind myself how it feels. And as I mentioned earlier, with the situations that I've experienced before, I always had support around me or the lack of temptation, right? Because if you're a college student and your roommates are cooking food, you may or may not be eating what they want, but it's mostly you focusing on your diet. So it was easy. But being in a situation to where, you know, for my specific situation, I'm not eating meat, but I'm feeding my son chicken that smells good. That's hard. That's hard. And I related to people who are trying to lose weight, right? And we're like, okay, you don't need to be having this much sugar. You don't need to be eating this. You don't need to be eating that. But their whole family is diving headfirst into a chocolate cake. Like, it is hard. It is really, really, really difficult. And I'm not going to lie, it's a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be. And it's a lot more challenging than I remember it being. And this is why my YouTube channel is important to me, because I feel like this is where we find our tribe. This is where we find space to say, hey, I've been dealing with this and, this and whatever it is. I'm having difficulties, but this is where we feel the support. Because a lot of times if you step out, even in your immediate family, you may not have that support. Even in your friend group, you may not have that support, but this is what the tribe is for. This is what we do. So another component of the challenge for me was to be intentional about what I was eating and how I'm eating. And I'm still doing it. I still have like a week or so left on the challenge. But to tap in and listen to my higher self. And then, like I said in the earlier video that I made some like agreements with God and like on the spiritual side of doing all of this. And I'm so proud of myself because I've learned that I have a level of discipline that I don't think most people tap into. Because I can't tell you how many times throughout this challenge when I was feeding my son meat or I was like cooking it for my family, that there's like a little voice that whispers, nobody would know. Just take a bite. No one would know. Who would know? And I'm like, I would know. God would know, because this is what started it. And I just know that it's tough and it's hard. And the biggest thing that I noticed in our community is that we are, I feel, for the most part, we're moving out of a dynamic of survival mode in terms of like eating, like, hey, I got to eat this to survive or I'm not going to have anything to eat, to being able to have more informed choices about what we're eating. And that, again, goes back to like the intentional eating aspect of it all, and how when we're making informed choices about what we're eating to sustain ourselves and our lives so that we can thrive, so that we don't have to be in a state of depression, suppression, because we're giving our body the nutrients it needs. We're giving our body the fuel it needs. But it is hard, and it is a challenge when you're breaking something that you've been doing all your life, or you're breaking something that everyone around you is doing. And that's something that I wanted enlightenment on in this journey, in this challenge with the plant-based inspired and intentional eating challenge. So with that said, also, that's why if you look back at a lot of the shorts that I've posted, and I know I skipped days, y'all, because I'm telling y'all, like, I had to tap in. I've been tapping in. I've been journaling. I've been meditating, doing yoga. Like, I've really tapped in. And it wasn't just about eating. It was like a full experience. So some of those days where I didn't post what I ate or like any meal or anything at all, it's not because I'm not still on the challenge. I'm still on the challenge. It's because I became so focused in what I was doing that I'm like, man, you need to put your, basically like put your boots on, let's go. But if you look at some of the meals that I posted, I try to post things that were common to like things that people like to eat in general and have to avoid with meat. So that's why when I made the smothered steaks for my family, I just made extra veggies and potatoes for me. And that's what I ate. And that's how you still keep like the familiar taste of things without completely like going like, okay, now I'm just gonna eat raw veggies and I'm just gonna chew in this carrot and that's it, or I'm just gonna slice a potato and bite into it. Still keeping it familiar to what you want and to what you're used to. And I feel like if we incorporate things like that into our diet, where we're like, okay, I'll cut out, maybe instead of having white rice, I have brown rice, but I'll still do the gravy and the carrots or whatever it is. You keep the taste familiar, then it makes the transition a lot easier because it's familiar. And also remember, like, in any of these challenges, anything that you're trying to do, because again, like for me, this every challenge is a mind body soul experience, because your mind has to stay strong and stay focused on your why and what you're doing. Your body is what's actually doing it and being affected by the challenge, and then your soul is what gets the liberation, the excitement from the challenge. So if you're deciding to cut out meat, or you're trying to up your workout routine, and you're coming from the aspect of, I need to do this within a certain amount of time, or I need to be disciplined and learning how to be consistent with this process, right? You can do it, but start small and start familiar. So that's why for me, I'm doing the 31 days, which is doable, right? It's tough. I'm having challenges, but it's doable. And then it's familiar because I'm still making meals that are similar to what I would be eating if I were consuming meat. And that's the way I'm not completely just throwing myself into something new where it would probably be less likely to stick. So I just wanted to share that with you and to let you know that you're not alone. You're not alone. And I know so many times it feels like we are, like during this challenge, to be completely transparent, like I felt alone. Like, and I still feel alone because, like I said, my family's not doing the challenge with me. It's just me. But my best friend is vegan. So when I'm talking to her, like we're bouncing ideas and things off of each other, like, oh, try this, oh, eat this, oh, do this, because she's true to it. So like it gives me like a reminder of, okay, I still can have this, which is familiar. Oh, I could still do this because it's something that I see myself doing. But I'm not going to lie, it's really intense. It's really, really challenging. And that's why I posted on one of the videos, it is extremely important to know and to remember your why. Why are you doing this? And if your overall goal is health, mind, body, soul, then write that as your bottom line, whatever it is. And that's going to constantly be your motivation. So I hope this helps. I'm going to close off this video because the lighting is getting terrible because it's about to rain. And as always, make sure you take care of yourself, mind, body, and soul. But before you go, drop in the comments. Let me know, is there something that you're doing or you're working on? And if there is, what are some challenges you're facing? This is our tribe. This is our area and our space to connect and be inspired and feel uplifted. Mind, body, soul. All right. So you guys have a good one, and I will see you in the next video.